Hope everyone is doing well. I am back. I have received a question from YouTube user OhhYouuMichelle. So Michelle, I'm here for you and for anyone who wants to hear this. But Michelle's question is, I understand that you were sleeved and recently bypassed. Can you do a video explaining why? I had a feeling this was coming. Thank goodness, due to the pandemic, I work from home because I just knew those questions would be coming from my peers as well. But because of the pandemic and working from home, I haven't seen anyone in person, so they don't know. First, I'll give you an update of my stats. So my highest weight ever recorded was 274. I was sleeved at 256. That's after doing the pre-op diet. My lowest that I got down to after the sleeve was 198. I was bypassed recently, earlier this month, at 229 according to my scale. According to the hospital scale, it's 233. Today, I'm 212. So very excited. It's been 3 full weeks since surgery. Really happy with the weight loss, really happy with the progress. And, you know, those of you who know me that have been following me for a long time, you know, I'm very, very excited and looking forward to getting down to under 200. So Wonderland. So Wonderland, here I come. I'm coming for you. I was 214 at my last video, so I come down 2 pounds since that. I've been working out every day on the treadmill. Just yesterday evening, I was on a treadmill for over an hour. Now, and I can say regarding that, you know, I have to be careful because when you start really pushing yourself, you know, your muscles start, you know, tightening up and all that. And so the scale kind of offsets that. So if you're building muscle and you're trying to lose fat, you can lose fat and build muscle at the same time, so you won't see the scale move. So that could, you know, mess with your mind. But I'm eating so little now that, you know, I don't foresee that being a problem, but I'm definitely watching it closely. I use Bariatastic. It was recommended by my dietitian. It's an app that can hold a lot of data. You can log your weight, and it has a chart that tracks your weight. You can log daily notes. You can log your food. I noticed, though, that they don't have as many foods loaded as like MyFitnessPal or something that's been around longer, because I've noticed as I was using it even pre-op and I put in food, it didn't have it in there. So I had to be the first person in the app to like put in that food, and they want you to scan the bar. And that's very annoying. I don't have time for that. So in lieu of doing all of that, I use the daily notes inside Bariatastic a lot. Like I put in my weight for the day and I go into detail about my day so I can reference it, whether I lost weight, whether I was really tired, what I did that day. Did I work out? What exactly did I eat? How was my mood? You know, how was my bowel movement? You know, that's important too. All that detail. So anyhow, back to the question from Miss Michelle. Yes, I did have the sleeve surgery in 2016. And yes, here it is in 2021. And I also had the bypass. The question is why? Well, let me take you back to the beginning. So before I had the sleeve, I had a chronic cough for like over a year. And I just could not stop coughing. That did not work well for me. I'm in a role where I do public speaking with my company. And not being able to go like a full minute without coughing was a big problem. I had an x-ray done, and I did not get the results before actually having the sleeve surgery. I was kind of simultaneously following up on both, but it just so happened I went to a weight loss clinic. I saw the medical physician. She recommended that I have just a diet revision, you know, as far as following a plan. She put me on a weight loss medicine. I lost like 6 pounds in maybe 2 months with her. So then she recommended that I go to the surgery side for more, I guess, extreme assistance. And that particular doctor said, you are a great candidate for the gastric bypass. He went over my history. You know, he said you have, you know, acid reflux. That's why I don't recommend the sleeve. But of course, I do a lot of research. I work in the medical field. By the time I came in to see him, I already had my mindset on the sleeve. I already went to the weight loss seminar. I wanted the sleeve. That's what I knew that I wanted. And I knew that it was less invasive. I knew people that had the sleeve. I knew people that had the bypass. And I just wanted the sleeve. That sounded like it was just, you have a big stomach, you cut away, most of it you have a slender stomach, bam, you can't eat as much, it's not going to change so much more on the inside of you. That sounded like a winner to me. So I had a discussion with the surgeon, and he said, well, if you have the bypass, I think I can get you down to like 141 pounds. And I was like, 141 pounds? And here I was 273 when I saw the medical, or 274 when I saw the medical doctor. When I went to him, I lost 6 pounds. So I guess I was like 67. So I could not fathom being 141 pounds. And I was like, no, look, I just want to be like around 180. Look, can I get me to 180? Of course, he sent me for a psych evaluation, because who does not want to be their ideal body weight? So he's probably very confused, like, what's up with this lady? So I did have to go through at least 3 months with the psychiatric evaluation psychologist. We met like weekly or maybe bi-weekly. I had to document everything that I ate. She wanted to fully prepare me for the surgery and what I was getting into. After all that, I still wanted to have that particular sleeve surgery. And the reason why is because I have asthma. And with having asthma, I had the concern of the bypass being malabsorptive. So I didn't want to have to get on some kind of steroid medicine for my asthma. And, the medicine does not absorb because I have this extreme bypass of my intestines. So, hold on a second. All right. So my doctor agreed to do the sleeve. He did warn me, okay, if you have the sleeve, then you will likely lose down to 200 pounds. Now, keep in mind, I was 267 pounds. He said you will lose down to 200 pounds. Typically, after, 3-4 years, sleeve patients have trended up in their weight, maybe even bypass, but specifically for my surgery was the sleeve. He said, they tend to gain weight and they put on about 15-20 pounds. So he said you'll level out at 215-220. So I'm really logical, really analytical. That is what he told me. So that is what I shot for. So sure enough, I had the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, and it was on February 29th of 2016. The first 3 months, I lost 35 pounds. I got down to 222 pounds. I was thrilled. I'm only 22 pounds away from that 200 that he said I was going to get to. I was over the moon. Well, when I went in for my 3-month follow-up visit, you don't see, or for my clinic, you don't see your surgeon first. You see like his assistant or another doctor that works closely with him, his fellow, I don't know. So the fellow came in and he had a very negative tone. He said, it's been 3 months and you lost 35 pounds. And I was like, yes. And he was like, no, we expected you to lose more. I'm like, how much more? He's like, maybe 10 or 15 more pounds. I'm like, it's only been 3 months. And considering I have actually lost 20 pounds in my pre-op, I lost 35 pounds plus 20 pounds in pre-op. So in my mind, in 3.5 months, I lost 55 pounds. That felt amazing. He wasn't pleased. My surgeon came in. My surgeon wasn't pleased. He said, this is not optimal. This is not what we expect. You're not losing as fast. I'm worried in advance. And so I want to send you back to the medical side and get you on an appetite suppressant. That completely changed the game for me. That really messed me up. And so I started doing research. In my research, I remember that on YouTube, there was a user who had her surgery a couple years or maybe 3 years before I did. And I remember her saying that she lived in my state or maybe even my city. I remember her saying that she was not pleased with her weight loss, like maybe in the first, same thing, like in the first, 3-4 months, she had only lost 40 pounds. She was expecting more. By the time the year came, she had only lost like maybe 40 pounds, but maybe by that Same time frame, she had said she went back to her surgeon and he recommended her get on appetite suppressants, and she told him absolutely not. That's not why I had this surgery, not so that I would have to get on appetite suppressants again. So people that have been following me for a long time, you may remember at this point, 3 months after surgery, I made a video about this. How I went back at that time, at my 3-month mark, I remembered her, I went back, I found her video, and I started watching every single video. And finally, I got to a video where she had her revision with another hospital almost to the date of a year after her first sleeve. And as you know, here it is, like a few months out, she's like, I've already lost 60 pounds in this short time frame. You know, I had a terrible experience. Now I know that my first surgeon did not do his due diligence. Do not go to the doctor she mentioned was the surgeon that I just had my surgery with. And that's the video that I did about 3 months after my sleeve. And I was in a panic. And I was letting my YouTube family know, oh my goodness, you know, this is the same surgeon. He did the same thing to me. You know, I honestly felt like this should be a lawsuit. Like, I spent over $4,000 out my own pocket, at least, for my portion of that hospital bill for this surgery. And you did not do your due diligence. By not doing your due diligence, what I also found out is every vertical sleeve gastrectomy is not done the same way. So, you know, at the time, you know, people spoke about the size bougies that their surgeon used on them. It could be like a 32 cc, a 35, a 38 cc. This should be the size of your sleeve. Well, I questioned my doctor's office when I went to that medical doctor. I said, can you look at my operation note and tell me what size bougie the surgeon used on me? She went through the record. I can't find it. She could not find the size bougie. From me going, you know, back and forth, you know, to the doctor throughout the year, they went on to tell me, and I think his fellow told me, he did not use a bougie on you. He just, you know, the scope that they put in you during surgery, he just cut around it. So that's how my sleeve was made. He just cut around the scope. That might work for some surgeons, but my surgeon is not good at that, because he did me wrong. He did the other lady on YouTube wrong. He probably did several other people that way. The surgeon that I have now that did my bypass, his fellow showed me what my stomach looked like, you know, to show me exactly what it looked like before he did it. So this is what my stomach looked like. It was still round at the top, slender in the middle, round at the bottom. So my first surgeon gave me a dumbbell. So essentially I had 50% of a sleeve done, if at best. And so with that in mind, you know, you're always hear that your sleeve is a tool. You have to work your tool. Well, I didn't have a full tool to work with. I had like half a tool basically, but I still did a great job. When I realized I hit that standstill of about 40 pounds, which is all you're going to get from my surgeon's work, I started pushing to go ahead and get the rest of that weight off. In total, I lost like 75 pounds after the vertical sleeve gastrectomy. But to be honest with you, I did end up having to get on an appetite suppressant. I did greatly reduce my calories. By the time you are over a year out from surgery, you shouldn't still be eating calories that are like 500. You should be able to work up to like 800 or 1,000 by that point. I really had to still limit my calories. I had to do intermittent fasting, all these things. Well, I was content with living that way. I had somewhat restriction. Like I said, he gave me about 50% of a tool to work with. So I did have some restriction. One thing that I noticed though, I did not have the type of restriction that a lot of my peers spoke of. A lot of my VSG peers spoke about like food kind of getting stuck. Like it can't really go down. I followed Cecilia Lane. She had her surgery way before me, like maybe 4 or 5 years before I had mine. So she's someone that I was following before surgery. I was shocked to find out that my experience was nothing like hers. She spoke about